Alright, welcome back. This is Mr. Tom here with another video. This week we are going to learn how to make rock candy. And this might have actually been something you've done before, or maybe you've seen some friends do it. And it's pretty popular. I remember when I was little, I loved getting rock candy. And then I actually learned how to make it. And it's actually pretty simple. So I'm going to show you a recipe that you can use to make rock candy at home. There are actually some kinds of different ways to do it, but I'm going to show you one way. Let's get started. Okay, let's take a look at what materials we need. So first of all, you're going to need a jar. Okay, this is a little mason jar right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour 1.5 cups of sugar. I have already pre-measured this. Again, there are different recipes. The recipe that I followed calls for 3 cups of sugar, actually, and 1 cup of water. But because I want to use a smaller jar here, I'm just going to reduce that in half. So I'm going to do 1.5 cups of sugar instead of 3. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour this straight on in the jar. A lot of sugar. Alright, okay, now next I want to go ahead and pour in some water. Now this has been boiled. I've let it sit for just a little bit so it can cool, but it's okay, it can still go in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out half a cup. So I don't know if you can see here through the glare, but this is 2 cups. Here's 1, and then a half cup would be about here, and that should be just about the right size to fill this jar. Okay. There we go. Got my half cup in there, and I'm going to pour that in the jar. Now what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this sugar to dissolve. So, I don't know if you can see through there, the water's gone in, that hot water's gone in, it's already starting to dissolve the sugar, and actually what it's doing, it's making a syrup. So maybe you've had syrup before, maybe with pancakes or waffles. Syrup is full of a lot of sugar. So that's basically what we're making here. Alright, now I got a spoon here, and I'm just going to start mixing this up. Okay. It's going to be a little rough at first because there's a lot of sugar to get through, but once you start getting it going, see, then you can move it around faster. Now, do be careful with this part though, because with the hot water, the sides are still a little hot. Okay, just be a little careful. It's safe, it's just, something to be aware of, so you're not startled by it. And you might notice, actually, after you stirred for a little bit, and then you let it sit, oh wow, that's a lot of sugar water. You let it sit, not all of it will have dissolved, so you actually might have to do this a few times. In fact, what you can do if you want, you can just take this jar, this is microwave safe, you can pop it in the microwave for a little bit, maybe 2 minutes. You can also pour this out and put it into a saucepan of boiling water. There are different ways you can do that. But what I'm just going to do is I'm going to keep stirring this, and I'm going to wait a minute and see if when it settles there's still some sugar in there. If there is, then I'm just going to keep stirring. Okay, so I'll be right back. Alright, so I got that stirred up pretty well. I did end up putting just a little bit more water, maybe about 1/4 cup more water in there. But you can see it's pretty syrupy in there. Alright, now next, just for fun, I'm going to give a little color to this. I'm going to use red. So I'm just going to put a few drops, 5 drops, 6 drops, okay. Alright. I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to stir that in. There we go. Alright. This will give us a nice red colored candy. Now, next thing I've got is this contraption here. This here is part of a bamboo skewer, okay? And what I did was I taped it onto this stir, piece of a stir, so that way it's going to rest in the jar like this. It's going to be on the inside. Now, but first, before I actually let it stay in there, I am just going to soak it. I'm going to let it soak up some of that sugar water there. I'm going to take it out, okay, just to get it wet and syrupy, nice and sticky. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this aside, is I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to roll it into just a little bit of sugar. I don't know, yeah, I think you should be able to tell just barely on video there. I'm actually going to get some of that sugar on there. There we go. And now what this does is this actually helps kind of speed up the reaction a little bit. So what's happening is you got water and sugar in here, but remember that water's hot. As this cools, then the sugar actually hardens. It hardens, and it's going to harden onto whatever surface we put into it. But really, to get it started, it helps to wet this and coat it with a little bit of sugar. All right, now I'm going to place it in here carefully. And I'm just going to let it sit like that. Now, I'm going to show you one that I started on myself yesterday. This is slightly different. It's a bigger jar, and I also use string. Now, really, to get to the point where you actually have candy that's enough to eat, you want to wait about a week. Okay, so let it sit in that jar for about a week. So this has been sitting in for just a little bit over a day. But just to show you that it is working, I don't know if you can see through there, but I got a string hanging down through there. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up, and you can see starting to get some sugar crystals hardening up on here. You see that? Okay, and this is after 1 day. Now, like I said, you want to wait for about a week. But that's how you do it. And also, whether you use string or whether you use a skewer, whatever you want to stick in there, you want to make sure, of course, it's supported up so it doesn't just fall in. But also, you don't want it to go all the way down to the bottom of the jar. Okay, so with this skewer, I don't know if you can tell through there, but it doesn't go all the way to the bottom of the jar. There's about an inch from the bottom to the end of this skewer. All right, well, and it's a pretty fun, ooh, wow, my hands are very sticky now. It's a pretty fun science experiment, something you get to eat, of course. It's pretty fun. You can try lots of different color combinations. You can even add flavorings to it. You can put in different kinds of extracts, like vanilla extract. You can try cinnamon. It's pretty fun. Try all kinds of things. So, as I go wash my hands, I will wave goodbye with my sticky hands, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you.